Well, I inherited an organization that probably was being beat up by the community to a certain extent because they didn't see the value in the organization.
We had a lot of trouble talking to each other. If I wanted to start a new project that may involve improving faculty's ability to teach, I wasn't so sure if I was going to get any support from the folks who did put the wires in the wall and the servers in the server room.
In the old organization, the managers were responsible for managing people. They weren't really managing services. So there was really no buy-in to making that product any better, and certainly no buy-in in making that product any less expensive.
Imagine a budget as a spreadsheet. You know, the columns represent the typical general ledger codes, travel, training, vendor costs, and so on. And the rows represent the things you want to do in the year ahead, or even better, the things you want to deliver in the year ahead, your products and services. And people fill out the spreadsheet well and good. Now, in the traditional budget approach, what do? They total the columns and submit a budget for what they want to spend, you know, compensation, travel, and training for each cost center or each manager.
So when we had to go through a budget drill, the direction that usually came from the administration was, well, you need to cut this many dollars from your budget. And that usually led to looking at the budget sheets and saying, all right, that means I have to cut 2 people. Or I have to cut all this travel out, or I have to cut all the training out. And you really didn't take into account what this was doing to the services that you were providing to the university as a whole. Well, the university as a whole really didn't care about that because the expectation was that even after you got done taking the budget cut, you were going to continue to provide all the services that you were providing in the past.
Think like a business within a business. Think like an entrepreneur. You don't propose a budget for what you want to spend. You propose a budget for the things you want to sell to your clients throughout the business in the year ahead. I call this investment-based budgeting.
So when we looked at the full cost model, it was very clear to us that we're on that initial team that was making the decision to do this, that the budget was going to be very different. It was going to include all the costs that were associated with delivering the services, and that was the focus of the budget, was services, not how many headcount you had or how much travel you were doing. And there was a very clear relationship between how all those costs fit together. So we could take the budget back to them and say, all right, in order for us to provide this service, this is the entire amount that it costs.
Now we can show the institution what it takes to run the business and what the costs are for anything they want to do. So if they come at us with new projects, they want something custom, we at least have a rate table, and our rate tables, by the way, are compared with outside rates, so we know what we compare to the outside world in terms of cost, and we can give them a cost, and we basically let them make the decision of where they care to do business.
Since we've started doing that model of thinking, we've actually turned up several very important projects that we've been able to start. One of those was actually a request for bid project that went out from one of our grant-funded units on campus. They had received a large grant to provide some educational training on a nationwide level, but they really needed some IT support to back that up. And that was something my team had a lot of expertise in. And we put our rates together. We figured out exactly how much this was going to cost us. We told them, and we won the bid. I don't think we would have seen that a few years before. In fact, we didn't see that a few years before.
You need to understand the commitment that it takes from you and the organization, and you need to have the support of your executives to make this really happen. But the value is more than worth it, and the value repeats itself year after year, and that's the good part.